tonight's rescues are true stories. We've sometimes used actors and stuntmen, but everything you see is based on the accounts of the people involved. They've helped us to reconstruct events as they happen.
The evening of Friday the 4th of February 2011 began like any other Friday at Sutton Christian Centre in Tate Road, Sutton. At 6 p.m. that evening, the popular Friday Kids Club for children was due to begin. The club had often attracted over 100 children who had arrived for a mixture of games, activities and Bible stories. By 5:30 p.m, the final preparations for that night's club had already been made.
The hall had been set up and 2 coaches were already collecting different children from across the borough. I don't think any of us knew what was going to happen next.
At around 5:35 p.m, church elder Tony Horswood entered the church hall and noticed that it felt a little chilly. The part of Tony is being played by an actor. What happened next was critical. Feeling the cold, Tony went out to the boiler room to investigate.
Earlier in the day we'd been having some trouble with our heating system. We'd called a man out, but he thought that our gas pressure was too low for the boiler.
Exactly what Tony did in the boiler room is not clear, but the outcome was to prove catastrophic. Meanwhile, buses 1 and 2 were continuing their journey towards the church, completely unaware at this point of the drama that was unfolding back in Tate Road.
We didn't have a clue of the drama that was unfolding at Tate Road last week. Not a clue.
Tony had now returned from the boiler room to the hall, where what can only be described as a strange smell of burning was filling the hall.
Tony has always had a rather sensitive nose, and in fact when I'm cooking in the kitchen he can always tell what it is. It comes in just by sense of smell alone.
As the strange smell enveloped the hall, the 2 coaches filled with children, in addition to a number of other children being brought in by their parents, were now just a matter of minutes away from the church hall. It was at this point that Tony took the decision to call for the fire brigade.
I took the call from Mr Horswood at the Emergency Services Control Room. The caller spoke very calmly and described the problem to us in a clear and concise manner. He said that he was in a church hall in the Sutton area and that there was a funny burning smell.
By now the smell was getting even stronger, and some of the children had already arrived at the hall ready for the start of the club. They were asked to wait outside until the fire brigade arrived.
I can't remember ever having been called out to investigate a strange smell in a Pentecostal church before. I had bells and smells down with the other lot.
It wasn't long before pumps 1 and 2 from Sutton's Blue Watch arrived in Tate Road. Throughout the ordeal, Tony had remained inside the hall, while the children and other helpers kept to a safe distance in front of the building. At home, news of the crisis had reached Wendy, Tony's wife.
Well, I did get a little worried. I mean, to be trapped inside that hall with such a smell, well, I think he's very brave.
Using heat-seeking cameras, the firemen made a very thorough investigation of the premises. We have actual footage of some of the events of that night.
As a fireman, when you find yourself facing something like a nasty burning smell, well, the adrenaline just kicks in and sees you through. I think that if you thought too much about it, you couldn't do the kind of job we have to do. You need to go in there, get the job done, and then get out again. It's as simple as that.
After a nerve-wracking 20 minutes or so, the firemen eventually emerged, having satisfied themselves that the church was no longer in danger. They hadn't been able to detect any fire that may have caused the smell.
We had a bit of a sniff around, but couldn't find any evidence of a fire. And then we headed back to base for a cuppa.
It was then that Tony opened the doors and let the children into the hall, where the club continued almost as planned. But not until Tony had explained to the children exactly what had happened.
We had a funny smell, and it smelt like burning, and it smelt a lot like burning. So we called the fire brigade.
Well, they say there's no smoke without fire, but this time there wasn't any smoke or any fire, just the smell.